Good morning, good morning. Good morning, everybody. Quick delay here. Okay, we got it. All right, Instagram is good. Good morning, everybody. Good morning, everybody. Thank you for being here. Appreciate you guys being a part of the SLI Show. 8 a.m. on the dot, Wednesday, February 26th. I always feel like I got to play with my levels. Of course, that happens right after I go live. I got to play with my levels. Thank you for being here, everybody. What's going on? Good morning to everyone. Good morning. I got a good quote for everybody, but I really want to take this from, I think, something that happened yesterday. Maybe it was the day before. I can't remember. I throw out a quote to everybody. Now I got people throwing quotes my way. All right, if you got a good quote you want to share this morning, lob it in the chat. We'll get to it. It'll also make my life easier. Maybe I don't have to do it every time. Maybe I got some assistance here. Thank you for being a part of the show. We got a good show lined up today. We got a lot going on today. This is going to be also just kind of a nice one-on-one show. No interruptions, no guests, none of that stuff. Hitting a milestone this morning on the show that I'm really excited about. You know, towards the end of the show, we'll talk a little bit about it. But let me give everybody the quote here real quick. Here's a quote this morning. You can't teach anybody anything. Only make them realize the answers are already inside of them. You can't teach anybody anything. Only make them realize the answers are already inside them. That's a really good quote right there. I think we could all use a little bit of that. I'll keep an eye out here in just a couple of minutes here. I'll keep an eye to see if there's some other quotes out there that I could read off from others as well. What are we doing today? All right, let me tell you what we're doing today. Obviously, we'll talk a little bit about last night's game. When was I on the post-game show last night? I feel like I was just talking to you guys 15 minutes ago. Went over an hour yesterday on the post-game show. We got obviously we'll talk about the Lakers and the Mavs matchup. Not too in depth of the details of the game, to be honest with you. I felt like I already did that last night, but we'll get into it. If you guys got questions about the game or you guys want to chat about it, we'll certainly do that. At least some of the storylines from the game last night. I think now the shock is finally over. The Luka trade. I think there's a lot of storylines over these last few weeks about the shock, and it's the first this and the first that. Not to say that there isn't going to be more storylines around it, but I think we could kind of now just start looking at the Lakers and start looking at what they could potentially be in the Western Conference. I feel like we could kind of start going back to basketball. So we'll spend a little bit of time on that. I'm having such a tough time predicting the Lakers in the Western Conference. Last night I had one of the topics came up that, hey, the Mavs are going to be a problem and they would beat the Lakers in a 7-game set. And then that kind of sparked another conversation. How do you predict the Lakers in the Western Conference? Are there certain teams you want to see them go up against? Are there other teams that you would prefer they stay away from until the end, right? Like the Western Conference Finals, or, hey, can we just at least avoid this team in the first round, whatever the case is? We'll talk about that a little bit as well. Another report coming out of Dallas, Sam Amick actually wrote the report for The Athletic, and just kind of some more negativity around Luka on his way out. But there were some specifics on there, and I don't think these are too shocking, but I think this is going to be all kind of part of the evolution of Luka Doncic. So if he wants to reach kind of a next level, well, there's probably some areas of his life that he's going to have to do a better job of. Couple things on the NBA I want to get into. Wild game yesterday between Memphis and Phoenix. Sean McVay talked about Matthew Stafford. Talk a little bit about that. And then we'll do Ask Slee to end the show. We'll do some Ask Slee. So if you got some Ask Slees, wait on them. Because if you put them now, it's going to be nearly impossible for me to, find them by the time we get to the end of the show. But we'll do some Ask Slees towards the end. My people, I'd like to let everyone know, this morning's show is episode number 100. This is the 100th episode of the Sliwa Show. So started it, when did I start? October 1st? I think October 1st, 2nd, something like that. I think Lakers had media day October 1st. I know I started it on a Tuesday, I want to say. So whatever that first Tuesday was in October. So we hit episode number 100. Kind of a cool little milestone here. Obviously been doing the post-game show for a while, but for the Sliwa Show, this is 100. So thank you for everyone hanging out, supporting the channel. Over 30,000 subscribers. Well over, I mean, I think we're closing in on 150 members that are VIP members. A lot of people have been very, very generous in regards to that. Have had some great guests on this show. Have done some cool things. And obviously, where I'd like to take the channel in 3 months or 6 months or a year from now, we'll continue to build on this channel. But episode number 100, so that's kind of a cool little milestone to hit for the show. All right, let me see. Let me take a look here at some of the comments here. Yo, Slee, good morning, all. Good morning, Slee and everyone. Good morning, folks. Slee, how many morning coffees? Okay, I thought John was asking how many cups of coffee do you have in the morning? Jesus, John. It's 8:06. That many questions? All right, let's see what we got here. All right, let's see what we got here. I want to see 77 plus 23 equals 100. I like that one. All right, I want to see here. I just want to see if anybody had any quotes. And if they didn't have any quotes, then we'll just keep this thing moving. God, if I find quotes, I'll let you guys know. But nobody came through with a quote this morning. I like this one. All right. A journey of 1,000 miles begins with a single step. That's a phenomenal quote right there. Phenomenal quote. I could use that quote. There are times where, I think I told you guys, just recently I kind of taken up running again. So I'm basically training for a half marathon. So I have to follow this, whatever it is, even 4 miles or even 5 miles or whatever the case is. There's times where I'm doing the jog. I'm like, I'm only a mile and a half in. Okay, journey of 1,000 miles begins with a single step. All right, let's get the show started. Let's talk a little bit about last night's game. So Lakers obviously taking on the Dallas Mavericks. A lot of hype behind the game. I get it. I understand it. I wasn't trying to take away the hype last night, but I think I kind of was. Or yesterday when I was doing the show in the morning. I think the point that I was trying to make is all right, hey, this is cool because it's the first time Luka's playing the Dallas Mavericks again since the trade. But here's the reality. Dallas doesn't have a squad, right? It's not like Dallas has its full team and Anthony Davis is coming back to LA for the first time and he's actually playing and it's fourth quarter, 6 minutes left to go, and this is anybody's game. The game had as many storylines as it could, but the reality is I don't think anybody was looking at that game last night and saying, oh, hey, that's the full version of what the Lakers are going to be, because the Lakers I'm imagining in 30 to 60 days are going to be a different team. And then it's clearly not the version of what the Dallas Mavericks are going to be. But here's what it was. It was another win for the Lakers. 35-21 in the NBA. They're 35-21 as far as their record goes. Fourth in the Western Conference in the standings, keeping pace with Denver and Memphis, who are sitting at number 2 and number 3. I think Denver's at 3. I think Memphis is at 2 after Memphis won in OT yesterday. So from that perspective, just a solid win. You kind of grab it and you go. As for the actual details of the game was okay. I thought the Lakers would have a more comfortable lead. They didn't. I thought Dallas played their hearts out and made it a lot more competitive a game than I thought it was going to be. I thought they played really, really tough. There were moments in the game where I thought the Lakers defensively, they're all over the place, and I say that in a positive perspective. Lakers obviously still playing a lot of small ball. I thought Luka, his personal performance, I thought he was okay. I didn't think it was anything special. I'm going to read you guys some quotes here. I think Luka was happy that the game was over. Luka was happy that they got kind of through this game and they could kind of move on from here. But Luka, what was his stats when the dust settled? 19 points, 15 rebounds, 12 assists. Let me tell you something about Luka here real quick. And this is why having Luka Doncic a part of this franchise for hopefully the next 7, 8, 9, 10 years is going to be so important for the Lakers. Luka didn't play all that great yesterday. He still had 15 rebounds and 12 assists. By the way, had 3 steals and 2 block shots as well. Okay. Not that you're depending on Luka doing that night in, night out. I don't think people are watching Luka and saying, the guy's going to have 3 steals and 2 blocks. So give him credit on that side. But that's not, obviously what he's going to be known for. Luka can have a bad game and still have 15 rebounds and 12 assists. LeBron, there's a lot of nights that we take this for granted, where Bron doesn't shoot well from the field, struggles from the three-point line, maybe forcing some shots, whatever the case is. And then you look at the stat line by the time, it's over. Well, it's not like he didn't get you 9 boards and 12 assists, even though he didn't have the offensive game that you were hoping for. That's kind of the beauty with players like Luka. Luka, even if he shoots 1 of 7 from the three-point line like he did yesterday, or 6 of 17 from the field like he did yesterday. Well, this is what's not going to happen. And this is what makes true greats greats. Here's what's not going to happen with Luka. Just because Luka didn't have a good outing offensively, didn't shoot effectively, wasn't efficient from the field, it doesn't mean he's only going to have 4 dimes and 4 rebounds. That just doesn't come with the territory of Luka. That doesn't come with the territory of guys like LeBron or Magic or, guys that always kind of filled up the stat sheet. So even if he's not playing well, he's still getting you 15 boards and 12 assists. But Luka was nothing special yesterday. I thought a couple other things that stuck out in yesterday's game. And I'm going to actually read something off here. I'll do that in a second. I think a couple other things that stuck out yesterday. I think Bron having that performance in the fourth quarter, 16 points in the fourth quarter. LeBron can be a lot more strategic now with Luka on the floor. Listen, it's clear, at least in these last couple of games, things are going to run through Luka. But that doesn't mean that LeBron can't be as effective as he was. It doesn't mean that LeBron can't kind of be more strategic of when to take over games. I heard JJ yesterday saying in the post game when he was doing his post game presser that LeBron's not conserving energy. LeBron's not trying to pace himself. But I think what LeBron is doing when he's on the floor is he's just strategic. Okay, if I know Luka can run the offense and can get open looks for Rui and can get Austin Reeves the ball when he needs it, or can get buckets for his own, or can throw lobs to Jackson Hayes or throw lobs to LeBron James, why am I going to force something that doesn't need to be forced? All right, in the fourth quarter, Lakers needed LeBron. And LeBron started taking over in the game, had the 16 points in the fourth quarter. So those were a few of the things that I noticed, at least coming from last night's game. And this is going to be so unique to LeBron's career that he gets to, at stages of the game, say, I got somebody else running everything. Somebody else can bring the ball up the floor. Somebody else can orchestrate the offense. Somebody else can run a screen and roll. Somebody else can kind of dictate what to do. And it doesn't have to be on my back, on my possession, every single time down the floor. That part to me is unique. And I'm not trying to sit here and sell you guys that the Lakers were great last night, because I don't think they were. I think Dallas, if it wasn't for the lack of talent that Dallas had, they could have stole that game yesterday. But they didn't have Anthony Davis, and they didn't have Gafford, and they didn't have Lively. And that's a separate conversation, because I thought a lot of people yesterday were giving some credit to Dallas and what's that team going to look like when they're healthy and everything else. So those were just kind of some of my quick takeaways from last night's game. I thought Luka said some stuff yesterday that will allow the dust to kind of settle a little bit. Let me tell you what I mean by that. He was asked about, the matchup and leading up to the game and everything else. He said, it was just a lot of emotions and not much sleep. I can't even explain it. It was a different game. Sometimes I don't know what I was doing. I'm just glad it's over, honestly. All right, let me see here. Let's see what else he said. He said something to the effect, it definitely will help me, and I think it's talking about moving on. It's definitely going to help me in the long run. Um, what did LeBron say? LeBron had said some stuff too about, obviously there's a lot of emotion that goes in when you give so much to a franchise, you sacrifice for a franchise, and you have that type of love and respect for a franchise throughout all the journeys. They went to the finals, all that stuff. He's grown from being an 18, 19-year-old kid to now 25-year-old man with a family. And when you move on, they move on from you. It's very emotional. Obviously, it's very taxing. Here's the good news, Laker fans. The good news is it feels like a lot of the firsts are over. Um, it feels like a lot of the, how do I put this? When I want to kind of, I think the shock factor for everybody, not just for us, but for Laker fans, for the front office, for NBA fans out there, for Luka Doncic. I think last night, at least for a quick second, you feel like, all right, now I think we could just kind of get back to basketball. The shock value is done. It's not that it's not going to still be there. It's not that it won't come and go where you're like, oh my God, Luka's a Laker. What the heck? But at least, I like Luka's quote of saying, I'm glad it's over. There was a lot of firsts that happened over these last 30 days or so. Let me give you guys an example. And this is what I'm hoping that we can kind of get back to, where we're just watching basketball again. And it comes down to, okay, what do the Lakers got to do to look as best as they possibly can? Where are they in the standings? What do the matchups look like? What are the closing five that's most effective? This, that. It's going to eventually get back to that. But the point that I'm trying to make is, I think last night we can kind of close the chapter of, okay, he is a Los Angeles Laker. He's probably going to be with the Lakers for a long time. And, you got Anthony Davis that also came back, and the Lakers did a video tribute for him. And you got to see Max Christie for a quick second. And you got to see Nico Harrison, and you got to see Luka look over there. And it's like, okay, he's facing his old team, all that stuff. That stuff can kind of all come to rest now. Think about the last month for Lakers basketball, okay? Even before the trade for Luka Doncic. You guys know, obviously, I'm putting up a lot of content on this channel. A lot of the content I was putting up from, let's call it January 15th, even before that, because Lakers, traded for Dorian Finney-Smith on December 29th. A lot of the conversation, honestly, it was like 50-50. Some of it was about the basketball. The rest of it was, are the Lakers going to go after Miles Turner? Are the Lakers going to go after Nick Claxton? Should they go out and get Jonas Valanciunas? There were so many side conversations that were going on, just natural. This is what kind of comes with the territory around the trade deadline. There were so many side conversations that took us away from the actual game. And then, of course, the shock for trading for Luka. Well, the shock for trading for Luka wasn't on just that Saturday night after the Lakers played the Knicks. The shock for trading for Luka still kind of continues. And then you got, okay, well, they traded for him. When is he going to play? All right, is he going to sit on the sidelines when he's not playing? Then you get his first home game when they're taking on the Utah Jazz. Then you get their first road game when they're taking on Utah. Then you get their first game when he's in Dallas. You got the first game when he's taking on Denver. I'm not saying that there still isn't going to be, tomorrow night. It's the first time that Luka takes on Anthony Edwards and the Minnesota Timberwolves in a Laker jersey. Of course, that's unique in its way, but the further we get from this, the more normal it's going to be. And I think that's going to be good for the Lakers. I think it's going to be good for Luka, where it's going to just kind of start going back to basketball. So a little bit of thoughts on last night's game, and then the shock is over. Like I mentioned, now it kind of goes back to basketball a little bit. Let's take a look at some of your comments. I appreciate you guys being a part of the show. Mitch Potter, 100th episode. Yes, sir. 100th episode. Thank you for being a part of it. Let's get another one in here. Am I tripping? No boxing after this win either. I think I threw a couple. It definitely wasn't 12 rounds. It definitely wasn't 12 rounds. I kind of like to save those a little bit. It's important sometimes for me to save those a little bit. Like last night, everybody was asking for roll call. I'm like, oh, I just did roll call. I don't want to just do it every time. I got you. I got you. I got you. I know people want the haymakers. Thank you for the super, brother. I appreciate you. Mealy Hellbot. Okay. I hope in episode 200, you still acknowledge the law firm as a brand new partner of the Sliwa Show. Well, they're long term here. So I'm very excited. Brad Wallace and the Wallace firm, I'm very appreciative of them. So I feel good that they're going to be on this channel for a long time. And I feel good that this is going to be good business for their business as well. So thank you for acknowledging that. We'll have more partners coming up too, coming up soon as well. Thank you for the super, brother. I greatly appreciate that. Let's see. Michael C. here, who's a member, by the way. That Laker Rui on former Laker Max was a crime last night. Wound still kind of fresh. I didn't know how to react. Normally, I'd be hyped as F. I think what you're talking about, Michael, if this is what you're talking about, a lot of bully ball from Rui last night. Rui's been great. And I got no problem acknowledging this. I was very critical of Rui, the first couple of months of the season, but I had a reason to. I wasn't doing that just to create a topic or a story. I thought there were reasons to be critical about Rui. And then, obviously, as he has performed, I would say over the last 30 days, he's been just phenomenal. And really on both sides of the floor. I think he's come into his own role. Maybe it was, hey, I might get traded. Well, F it. If I'm going to get traded, I'm just going to go out there and just try to be myself. I think a lot of teams really want to play off of Rui and help on Luka or help on LeBron or help on Reeves, and Rui's making them pay. So Rui's been phenomenal. I got nothing but positivity for Rui. It's cool seeing, obviously Max out there yesterday. What did he end up scoring? What Max end up putting? I know he hit a couple threes in a row, kept them in the game. Not a great game for him. 10 points, 6 assists, only 1 rebound, 4 of 13 from the field. So not Max Christie's best performance. He's been good for the Mavs. He's been really, really good for the Mavs. All right, let me get some more comments in here. Let's see what we got here. I'm going to go to the bottom here. I got to catch up. Anthony, I just dropped the kiddo off at school and came here to bask in the greatness of last night's victory. Listen, they've had better victories than that. They'll have better victories than that. But sometimes just kind of get the win and keep it moving. Nope, I'm giving him credit. There's a big difference. Glazing if he's not playing well, and I'm still trying to give him credit. But if I'm just giving the man credit, he deserves it. All right, let's get a couple more in here. Wait until AD drops a 7-point gem of a playoff game. Okay, this is going to be a good conversation. I want to keep things moving here, and this came up yesterday. And right when it came up, I'm like, okay, that's an interesting conversation. Dallas played good yesterday. I threw the question out because somebody said if Lakers and the Mavs played each other. Oh no, somebody said if Mavs were healthy, they would have beat the Lakers last night. Okay, so let me offer this question because if you guys do remember this, when the trade originally happened, the Lakers are not supposed to be competing right now. Like, they're not supposed to be a real threat this year. I think we all kind of knew that. It was like, no, guys, they gave up. They changed their team completely. What is the identity of their team now moving forward? We all kind of know the predicament of the Lakers. Like, you just gave up Anthony Davis. You gave up Max Christie, 2 defensive players. Obviously, Anthony Davis being Anthony Davis. And yes, everyone's ready. Build a team around Luka. But you didn't have the time to build a team around Luka. Clearly, they didn't have enough size. Then they went out there and kind of shocked everyone and tried making a trade for Mark Williams. And then, obviously the trade gets rescinded. So the Lakers are kind of working with what they have, but I don't think Rob Pelinka or JJ Redick or anybody, probably Luka, are sitting back there and saying, nope, this roster is perfect. When the trade initially happened, the conversation was less about this year and it was more about the future. So somebody threw this question out yesterday. We're having the conversation. Better roster right now, Lakers or the Mavs? If both teams are healthy, let's just say, which I think would be an incredible for TV purposes, for NBA purposes, for entertainment purposes. Let's say the Lakers and the Mavs were facing each other in the Western Conference Finals, like Kevin Garnett was predicting yesterday when I read that on the All the Smoke podcast. Who's got the better roster? Lakers or the Mavs? If Mavs are healthy, which team is more dangerous? Mavs are supposed to be competing right now. Nico Harrison didn't go make the trade and trade a 25-year-old Luka Doncic so that they could be competing 5 years from now. No. The Lakers made the trade just because the Lakers are saying, whatever the hell happens this year, happens this year. Yeah, I've said this before. I think they're playing with house money this year. And I think, I know people are going to want to say, no, they should be competing. I got some questions. When I start looking at the Lakers versus some of these other teams in the Western Conference, nobody can predict how the rest of this year is going to go. Now, I do have some stats that I think go in the Lakers' favor, but I think when you look at just these two teams for a quick second, we know when that trade went down, Nico Harrison was trying to compete in this next 2-3 year window to win a championship in Dallas. The Lakers were, okay, whether we're competing this year or they're not competing this year, the idea is we got our next superstar for the next 7 to 10 years, and you could build around Luka. But then we start watching some of this basketball, and I think specifically for all Laker fans out there, you saw that win against Denver and how easily it came and how great of a game Luka played, and you went on the road and you got a really, really tough win against a team that has completely owned you. And I think it's, going to start playing in people's psyche. It's like, maybe they can compete right now. Maybe they can truly be a competitor with some of these elite teams in the Western Conference. Maybe the West is wide open. But I thought last night, for me, if I'm just looking at Dallas's roster versus the Lakers roster, if the Mavs are actually healthy, their roster on paper is a more complete roster than the Lakers. Doesn't mean they beat the Lakers in a 7-game set. It doesn't mean that they're going to be healthy. But if you just look at their roster, I think it's very safe to say, okay, no, they have, you got your kind of your point guard in Kyrie Irving who can go off for 40 on any given night. You got, who do you want to use as your shooting guard? You pick, it's Clay, it's Christie, it's Caleb Martin, who they're eventually going to have back. They got their PJ Washington at 3. They got ridiculous size everywhere with Anthony Davis, Lively, Gafford. I don't know if they're going to be healthy, but on paper, that roster is obviously very talented. This came up yesterday, and I wanted to bring this in as a topic. I'm going to look at your comments in just a second. There was an article from Jovan Buha, The Athletic. Are the Lakers legitimate NBA Finals contenders? They're playing like it. So I started looking at Jovan's article and started kind of taking away some of the stats that were coming from there to make a case that the Lakers are a legitimate contender. The Lakers have the league's best record at 15-4 since January 15th. Okay. They rank number 1 in defensive rating and number 8 in offensive rating and number 3 in net rating, only behind the Cleveland Cavaliers and the Oklahoma City Thunder. Okay. I'm going to read here a couple more things just to kind of point out here. I'm not going to pay too close of attention of what their record is with Luka because Luka didn't play in some of those games, and we'll obviously they got a couple bad losses. I mean, the loss obviously to Utah before the break, and then the loss against the Charlotte Hornets might be one of the worst losses of the season. Los Angeles is allowing. This is since Anthony Davis went down and then never played for the Lakers because then he got traded, is allowing just 105.9 points per 100 possessions, the best mark in the NBA. a lot of this stuff, if I told you once the Lakers traded for Luka and we all had this just assumption like, okay, well, they're probably not going to compete for a championship this year. A lot of the stats tell you otherwise. A lot of the stats that, at least since January 15th, they're one of the best defensive teams in the NBA. How the hell is that possible? Okay, now you're going to add two of the best creators, playmakers, and high IQ players to ever play the game. And I'm talking about Luka and LeBron. And you get them in a 7-game set. How are they going to be able to slice and dice other teams? It's kind of going to be fascinating to watch and to see, where this all goes. But if you thought initially the Lakers are not supposed to be a contender once they made that trade and this move was more about the future, they're not playing like that. They're not playing like that. But over this 19-game stretch, best record in the NBA, 19 games is over a third of the season, so something to keep in mind. It's not like it's a tiny sample size, but it's something to keep in mind as the season progresses. All right, let's take a look at some of the comments here. We'll take a look at what people are thinking and go from there. All right, let's see where we are here. Let's see. Need to hammer the Clippers without Claw and Powell twice this weekend. Yeah, they play them on Friday and Sunday. And I don't know. I'm assuming, I have no idea if Kawhi is playing or he's not. I don't know how healthy they are. I know that the Clippers have lost 3 in a row and are definitely moving the other way. House money for sure. I really do believe that. And I know, a lot of Laker fans don't want to hear that. It's like, no, it's a championship or nothing. People can believe whatever they want. That's fine. And I understand that the Lakers have clearly created a franchise where if you're not competing for a championship, it's a waste of a year. Not many franchises can say that. I don't really look at the Lakers like that anymore, to be honest with you. I look at them more. The NBA structurally is a lot different than it used to be. And you got to be working towards something. And the Lakers are finally now, you feel like, okay, hey, now they can genuinely work for something. You don't feel like you're just kind of chasing your tail. And that's what it feels like the Lakers have been doing over the last couple of years. But this year, to think that they are, when they made that trade for Luka, I think they're playing with house money. Now, if you told me what does it look like over the next 3 years, yeah, they better be legitimately competing for a championship. All right, to go back to the question of the Mavs roster, the Lakers roster. Mavs better roster on paper, but Lakers have the leaders and closers, so Lakers win. Okay. Mavs size. Mavs size is a problem if they're healthy. Let's see what else we got here. Just about the only smart thing Nico did was demand max instead of connect. No big, first round and done. Well, I'll tell you this. If Lakers are a top 4 seed in the West, pressure's going to be on it. You better win that first round. I got some crazy stats that I want to throw your guys' way. Here. I'll do that in a little bit. Peter Slee, still think AR should come off the bench. I said this from the beginning that I did think he should come off the bench, but I also said that JJ Redick is proving to be one of the elite coaches right now. And if they think AR should be in the starting lineup, then I'm going to shut the hell up. And if it works, then it works. I still think we got so many games coming up against good teams. I really don't think we know where the Lakers are until about March 15th about what this team is. So I know that he's not I know that he's not, I'm talking about JJ Redick. I know he's not stubborn. I think if he thinks Lakers should change something, the Lakers will change something. All right, let me get a couple more of these comments in. Again, this is kind of going back. Playing with house money can put you in jail. Ipe. That's a good point right there. It's a good point right there. Mavs lucky if they get the plane. Listen, there's a lot of ifs with Dallas, and the biggest if is very apparent. Will they be healthy? That's it. Will they be healthy? If they're healthy, I like their roster. If they're healthy, I think they're a team that can really, really be a headache. But that's a big, big if, especially with three different guys that are out. All right, let me go towards the bottom here. John Wayne. John, thank you for the super, brother. I appreciate it, and thank you for being a member. Okay, let me throw this in here real quick. For those who are not members and would like to consider being a member, can we get 5 new members by the end of this show? Here we are, episode number 100. I'm going to put a link in here. I just started doing this 2 weeks ago or so. I'm doing basically exclusive content for members. We got special emojis that are there for members as well. A lot of Q&As, a lot of kind of a little bit more personal. It's a great way to support the channel. It's $3 a month. Basically, you're buying me 1 cup of coffee a month. Here we are, episode number 100. Can we get 5 new members here? I hope we can. There's a link there if you'd like to become a member. John Wayne says, check the schedule from January 15th. 1 back-to-back, wins over Boston and New York, beat Golden State twice before Jimmy. That's it. Relax. No, John, I don't think – here's the problem with whatever the Lakers did from January 5th on. The problem is the biggest problem to me is I think the Lakers have who they were January 15th is much different than who they are today because of some of the trades that they made. But I don't think you could take away the win against Boston. I don't think you could just take away the win against the Knicks. I don't think you could take away the win against the Indiana Pacers when the Lakers had Austin Reeves go off for 45. I don't think you could take away the win against the Clippers where Luka was sitting on the sideline just watching. I don't think you could take away the win at Denver. I don't think you could take away these wins. You know why you can't take them away? You can't take them away is because you also can't take away the loss that they had against Charlotte. You can't take away the loss that they had against Utah. Like, this all tells a little bit of a story. So I don't want to take things away. But I do think that in the next 3 weeks, yeah, you can find out a lot more about this team. You'll find out a lot more about this team. Every single game, you're going to find out a lot more about this team. All right, let's see what else we got here. That Rui block on Max, Laker on Laker crime. That's right. He got the block, and then he stared him down. So this kind of goes back. Oh, yeah, Michael, you had put this in. So, Michael, thank you for the supers, brother. I appreciate you very much. 100%. Then he yelled at him. Kind of flexed on him while Max Christie was on the ground. I'm like, geez, everybody relax here. Lakers have the bird rights, have Luka's bird rights. He's staying in LA. I would honestly be shocked if Luka Doncic, his next big-time contract is not with the Lakers. I'd be shocked. I really would. I mean, the franchise is going to give him anything he wants. They're going to accommodate anything he needs. They are. Like, I think that's just kind of the reality of the situation. I don't think Luka's going anywhere. Now we'll see what happens. Obviously, anything can happen. Maybe you get to the offseason and if Lakers don't play well or something like that. And I just have a very difficult time thinking Luka is not going to feel right at home being in LA, the way the franchise is going to accommodate. He's going to be as hungry to win an NBA championship as anybody. And of course, that front office always has the pressure and the vision of, we got to go get a chip. We got to go get a chip. I'm going to tell you guys, I've been listening a little bit more to Bill Simmons on his podcast. And listen, if you're an NBA fan, it's a good podcast, right? Like, guy, clearly, basketball is his world. And it's funny every time he talks about the Lakers because he has a little, he's upset. But I mean, he doesn't do it in an annoying fashion. He just kind of is being honest when he's talking about the Lakers. So he's just like, how the hell do they have Luka? How's that possible? How can they possibly have Luka? And he complements so many things around the Lakers, even though it bothers him, which knows that, that obviously he's telling the truth. And I think he's a perfect example of somebody that knows, like, yeah, Luka's going to be a problem for years to come. He's going to be a problem for years to come wearing a Los Angeles Laker jersey. All right, let's get a couple more in here. Armin's a new member. Armin, thank you, brother. I appreciate you very much. Thank you for being a new member of the channel. Very, very nice of you to join and be an MVP member. Thank you, brother. Don Rolo. Slee, what are our realistic free agent targets for this offseason? Do you see a world where Dalton gets engaged back in Lakers rhythm? He does not look there. If not, do you see him getting moved? Okay, let me do this. Do I want to do this right now? I see a couple of the other topics that I had. Now we do this right now. We'll do this right now. Okay, let's do this, and then there's a couple other things that I want to get into as well, and obviously continue to read some of your guys' comments here. Ashley coming up at the end of the show, by the way. I think the Lakers are in an excellent position in the offseason, a great position, and I'm gonna tell you a few reasons why. Number one, they have time. They have time to figure out between now and whenever the season ends, what are their strengths? What are their weaknesses? That to me is, I think, the piece that's most important right now of this Lakers team. I got here. One of my topics was about Lakers versus some of the elite in the Western Conference. And I'm personally very confused about playoff matchups right now. If somebody came on here right now and said, I like the Lakers over the Grizzlies in the 7-game set, I'd say, okay, all right. If somebody told me, hey, I hate the matchup against the Lakers versus Grizz in the 7-game set, I would say, okay. If somebody told me Lakers would dominate the Rockets in a 7-game set, I would be open to you selling me on it. If somebody told me Rockets would be a problem for the Lakers, I would be open to you selling me on it. The reason why I set it up that way is because we really don't know what this team is. And we're not going to know for a little bit. And we're not going to know what the strengths are and what the weaknesses are. I think we have an idea. Obviously, they can use more size. Another lob rim protector would be phenomenal. A lob threat and a rim protector would be phenomenal. I think we all kind of know that. We understand that. So to go back to your question here, Don, about the offseason, I think that's one of the great things that Pelinka and the front office has between now and the time you get to the summer. There isn't this crazy pressure that you have to win right now. I believe that go win a round, make some noise. Maybe you do make a run this year, and it was unexpected. Maybe OKC got clipped in the first or the second round, and you find yourself in a position where it's like, oh my God, they're back in the Western Conference Finals. Maybe the Lakers are an awful matchup for Denver with Luka. Whatever it is, they get time and data to figure out what they need in the summer. And here's the other beautiful thing come summer. They have a lot of expiring contracts. They still got that 2031 first rounder. They obviously still have Dalton Connect. So I think they got some assets that they can work with. So part of, I thought when the Mark Williams trade didn't go down, there was this like, oh my gosh, they're not going to have, they don't have a big, they don't have this. Okay, they kind of seem to be managing here just fine. And not to tell you that they couldn't have used him. I mean, obviously, it looks like they could have used a guy like Mark Williams, but they also gave up a lot to get him. And now they could kind of take a deep breath. Hey, Pelinka tried to make a deal, just didn't happen. They were worried about Mark Williams' health for the future. And now they can obviously sit back and try to assess what are the right moves for the Lakers moving forward. Okay, so the last part here on the Dalton Connect piece, Connect's going to get looks. Hopefully, Dalton Connect can play, as great as he can between now and the season ending. But I think if you tried to trade a player already, Would you be shocked if Dalton Connect is in another trade package in the summer? I wouldn't. So, Don, thank you for the super brother. Very, very nice of you to lob a 10 spot in there. Very, very nice of you. Do you guys see this article? I read this morning. All right, let me get that comment out of here. There's a report in The Athletic. There's a report in The Athletic. This is from Sam Amick. I'm going to read it word by word. Okay? Make no mistake. The people who witnessed Luka Doncic's last days in Dallas do not paint a flattering portrait of the 25-year-old's professionalism. They call him lazy. They talk about the weight issues that were such a frequent frustration within their walls. They mention the social habits that The Athletic has reported on, such as a taste for beer and hookah, which has been a point of concern for NBA types since he was 19 years old for Real Madrid, who was entering the NBA draft. They predict his basketball demise, highlighting a health history that, as some see it, will likely lead to catastrophe in the next 5 years or so. Those are quotes from Sam Amick in his article in The Athletic. So some more smearing here for Luka Doncic on his way out the door. And NBA Central had put up on Twitter, they had put up a couple of pictures. They put up this quote. So, clearly, obviously, it actually, one of the pictures shows Luka smoking hookah. Another one shows him drinking a beer. And anyways, that's the quote that's there. So this is another one of the storylines, guys. Let me tell you this, and I know I'm sure there's going to be a lot of Laker fans that are obviously going to be protecting Luka now that he's a Los Angeles Laker and saying, "Come on, this is ridiculous. The guy is still going to drop 32, 9, and 9." And I think anybody's questioning that. I think Dallas had their reasons why they felt like they needed to move on. Do I think it's the wrong decision? Sure. Did Dallas maybe feel like, listen, we're never going to get the best version of Luka Doncic because he feels like he can kind of just do whatever the hell he wants here. And he, thinks that they're never going to trade him. He's the king here. Everybody loves him. Oh, by the way, he's also his numbers are also putting up like, guys, whatever I do, I'm still delivering. So what do you want me to do? If I'm delivering, I'm delivering. I think we've already talked about how they've kind of tried to smear him on his way out. So I'm going to kind of leave that alone. It is what it is. They traded him for whatever reason. But I will say this, and I know I've said this before on the show, and I'll say it again. If Luka wants to be the best version of Luka, I think it's clear with everybody. There's certain things in his life that he's going to have to eliminate. If you do look at just the player that's on his team right now in LeBron James and kind of see that here he is at age 40 still doing what he's doing. And I'm not telling you Luka's got interest of playing till he's 40 years old. Maybe Luka's one of those players at 35. He's like, I'm done. That's plenty of time in the NBA. That's 17 years in the league. Remember, he got in at 19 or whatever the case was. I do think that Luka's in such a good position right now to where this should be a little bit of a wake-up call for him. This should be Luka that as a Laker, the expectations are going to be different and there's going to be pressure and this and blah, blah, blah. This kind of comes with the territory. I do think for Luka, it's kind of his chance to prove everybody wrong. It's kind of Luka's chance to also say to himself, I'm going to be in the best shape I've ever been in my life. And maybe I've been able to do what I've done and not be in the best shape of my life. Well, that stuff's over. I'm going to take my game to another level, and my goal now is only to win championships with the Los Angeles Lakers. But again, literally another article out there that kind of goes through the same type of stuff that we were talking about before. I'm going to let you guys put some of your comments in here. And as you guys do that, I'll get back to them. I do want to give a shout out to one of our partners here. Shout out to the Wallace firm. Shout out to Brad Wallace and the Wallace firm. Shout out to this partnership here on YouTube with him, somebody that I've known for about 5 years now. I think it's so cool that some of these relationships that I had when I was at 710 ESPN, there are people out there that, obviously clearly believe in the channel, what I'm trying to build, and they think this is good for their business, that they are deciding, I'm going to join SLI on YouTube as well. If you are someone has been seriously injured or is dealing with the loss of a loved one, you should find out what legal options you have, and you deserve the absolute best. And of course, I'm talking about Brad Wallace and the Wallace firm. When it comes to holding insurance companies accountable and maximizing case results, my guy, Brad Wallace and the Wallace firm, his legal team, they're the real deal, and they can help you. We put up a URL here, and this is the reason why we did it. We want to just make this as easy as possible. I hope you never need Brad Wallace and the Wallace firm. I hope that you never run into an issue where something like this might spark, oh my gosh, I can't believe I'm in this situation, or I got a family member in this situation. I'm going to reach out to Brad Wallace and the Wallace firm. But they're proven trial lawyers, and we put out this URL, wallacewins.com/Sliwa. wallacewins.com/Sliwa. You could learn more just by going to the website. I obviously have it here. You can get a free consultation if you're ever in a predicament. I could also do this for anyone that needs it as well. Brad's a good buddy of mine. I can make a personal introduction if you'd like me to do that, and you feel like, that's easiest thing for you. Thank you to his partnership, and anybody that's out there that's watching the show, whether recorded or live or whatever the case is. If I can help with a predicament that is clearly not a comfortable predicament for anybody, tell me, and I'm happy to help. Shout out to Brad Wallace and the Wallace firm for being a great partner of the show. All right, let's take a look at some of the comments here. Let's see what we got here. I'll take out of shape 25-year-old Luka over street clothes 31-year-old AD 100% of the time and twice on Sundays. Yeah, but let me ask this question. If you're out of shape or you're not in the best shape at 25, that's going to eventually lead to injuries. I think that's why he's had those calf issues. And listen, I don't want to harp on too much of this. I really don't. But I just want to, obviously point it out that here's another article that's coming out specifically about Luka and everything else. Somebody here thinks that Luka needs a hookah brand deal. Okay, Ruben. I see what you're doing there. Fastest paint job ever coming from Matthew. Matthew, I see where you're going there. I understand your strategy on that one. Not looking to have a family with Luka, just need a ring or two. Yeah, it's going to be the expectations. That's it. But I said this before, and I'll say it again. If this isn't a wake-up call for Luka, then I don't know what is. And I think it will be. I definitely think it will be. Hey, Slee, what NFL team would be comparable to this Lakers team? You need like an up-and-coming team. I mean, I know Braun is still on the roster. Is it Rams? Would Rams be a good comp? Maybe not the favorite, but dangerous. Good coach. Have a player on there that has already won an NBA championship, and LeBron has won championships, but a championship with the Lakers. Is that Stafford? Would that be a comp? They went toe-to-toe with Philly at the end, and Philly ends up winning the Super Bowl. Maybe that's a good comp. Because I think if you say like, oh, the Lions collapsed and Lions had the best record in the league. If you said Buffalo, no, because that means you're knocking on the door every year. I think Rams. I think that's the comp that I have. Somebody going with the 49ers. You can't say Eagles because Eagles are kind of like, all right, I thought Eagles were the team to beat going into the playoffs. I don't know if Lakers are going to be considered the team to beat going into the playoffs. So that's why I stop at the Eagles. All right, let's see what else we got here. I don't know if you got a chance to see the live reaction of Locked On Nuggets when the Luka trade happened. The Lakers have always found a way to get a superstar and stay relevant. Thank you, Slee. Hey, Seuss, I had somebody else recommend that to me. Thank you very much for the super, brother. It's very kind of you to lob a 10 spot here. So thank you for doing that. Somebody else had recommended it. Maybe it was you. I have not got a chance. To be honest with you, I've just kind of been busy in my own world. But that's a good idea to go back. I think a lot of people always say this is, how does this franchise always find a way to get a superstar? But this one's honestly different. This one's different because of a lot of the circumstances. Wasn't the Lakers kind of stealing somebody from somebody else? It wasn't, if you want to say, okay, the Bucks trade Kareem to the Lakers, or Lakers get lucky and they win the coin flip and get Magic with the number 1 pick, or Jerry West hides Kobe Bryant and eventually makes a trades Vlade to get him. Shaq was Orlando being idiotic in their negotiations with kind of nickel and diming Shaq, and Shaq just signs with the Lakers. This one was literally a 25-year-old that was gift wrapped by the Dallas Mavericks. All right, there was a good one in here. Let me see here. See if I could find that comment. I don't think I can find that comment. It was a good. Oh, here it is. Brian says, I've been watching a lot of Mavs content lately. Yeah, sometimes I do that. Sometimes I look back to kind of see, okay, what was some of the other content that was out there, and you want to get it from a different perspective. Denver on Saturday. It's like when they took that L against the Lakers, I'd be curious, okay, what are Nuggets fans thinking today because of what happened on, obviously what happened on Saturday night. Don, thank you again for the super, and Jesus, thank you again for the super. Okay, I think we're kind of getting towards a portion of the show. I got a couple other things that I want to do. One of them is NBA related. One of them is NFL related. But I also want to throw out here, it is Wednesday. It is episode number 100. I got Ask Lee coming up. So if you guys got any Ask Lee questions, basically after 9 a.m., we're chilling. It doesn't have to be just basketball conversation. If you guys got some Laker or NBA questions you guys want to throw my way, feel free to. But if you got some Ask Lees, Ask Lee is basically just kind of some random questions. It could be about anything. Doesn't have to be, just basketball questions or sports questions. What are some of the questions I've got recently? You prefer tacos or pizza? Your favorite mob movie of all time? So I've got kind of random questions like that. So feel free to throw them on. So we'll do some Ask Lee here. So if you guys got some Ask Lees, feel free to throw them in. The quick NBA stuff that I wanted to just get in here real quick. Yesterday there was a game. Last night there was a game. So outside of the Laker game, it was this last night? Was it last night or the day before? Oh, no. Yeah, it was last night. Suns played the Grizzlies last night. Guys, this is why I don't take the Phoenix Suns seriously. And I've been saying this for a while. I mean, what a trip. That team really 27-31. Does that not tell you a lot about the identity of those players? I mean, I don't know what to tell you. But 27-31 and having 3 players of that caliber, that also tells you that shit doesn't always work when you just try to put, the top 3 players. I mean, if they can go back, I'm sure they would say, okay, hey, Devin Booker, Kevin Durant, and then let's get the hell out of the Bradley Beal business. They went out and traded for him, and let's go build a team rather than just put stars together. KD last night against Memphis, 26 points, 8 rebounds, 7 assists. Bradley Beal, 24 points, 11 assists, 5 rebounds. Devin Booker, 28 points, 10 assists, 3 rebounds. All three of their guys scored. Grayson Allen dropped 21. Bol dropped 23 and 8. They gave up 151 points to the Memphis Grizzlies and lost. Now, listen, Memphis gave up a ton of points too. It was 151 to 148. They lost in OT. Phoenix just has no identity. None. That is definitely a team that I don't worry about. I just don't. I don't think that's a team that's going to be making much noise at all. Who knows where they actually end up? Let's see if they even get into the playoffs. I mean, just what an embarrassment of a franchise of just kind of what's happened to them. Let me see standings wise. Where are they? Guys, they wouldn't even be. They're actually, oh my gosh, they're 3 games back behind of just making the play-in. What an awful, awful franchise. 2-8 in their last 10 games. I mean, you want to talk about needing to shake things up. They're going to be shaking up a lot of stuff come this summer. They're going to be shaking up a lot of things come this summer. All right. Last thing I want to get into. So that was the NBA stuff I wanted to get into real quick. Let's see who's playing tonight. Just want to take a quick look. What are some of the games going on tonight that could have an effect on the Lakers? That's actually a kind of a cool game. Celtics Pistons. Look at Detroit. 32 and 26. Cade Cunningham, a complete stud. Damn, he's having a great season. 26 points a game, 9.5 assists, 6 rebounds per game. Phenomenal. I mean, his stats are almost toe-to-toe with Jason Tatum. Should be a fun game. Obviously has no effect on the Lakers. Let's see what other games do. Clippers and the Bulls. Clippers, let's see if they're going to lose 4 in a row. Kings and the Jazz, Spurs and the Rockets. Obviously, with Wemby not playing anymore, a lot of that excitement around the Spurs has gone away. There was one NFL story I want to get into real quick, and this was about Sean McVay talking about the Rams. I mentioned this yesterday. I mentioned that Matthew Stafford's trying to get $50 million, and I was talking about how I don't really know what kind of leverage the Rams have. Their entire franchise hangs on Matthew Stafford. If Matthew Stafford is available, he's playing well, and he's a part of your franchise, you can be dangerous in any game. If he's not, I don't know what you have. McVay was on the Fitz and Wit podcast. Here's what he said. There's no discrepancy on us wanting him to continue to lead the way and be our quarterback. He said the interesting and the challenging dilemma and dynamics within this are, hey, how do you continuously as a head coach look at the short term and the long term and be able to figure out what does that really look like? There is no dispute, and let's not get it twisted in regarding to anybody wanting him to be our quarterback. Now, there's layers to it. You have to be able to say, hey, how do you continuously build? How do we support him? How do we make sure that he's getting his worth relative to those things? So obviously he's talking about how bad that he wants him to be quarterback. I'm going to read one more quote here. Don't have to do anything in secret. Want to make sure that we're all abreast of the situation, even though the first goal in mind is to have you come back and be our quarterback. So he's obviously talking about Matthew Stafford there. You know, one of the things I do like about how the Rams do business, I don't really feel like they're working in the dark. I think they're very honest. I think they kind of let some of the things that are behind the scenes get open and it's in the public, and maybe Sean McVay or maybe Matthew Stafford's agent already made it in the public anyways. But I think that organization is ran so well, and Sean McVay is the head of the snake for that organization. I know, you look at ownership and you look at the GM and everything else. Franchise changed when Sean McVay became the head coach there. But be interesting to see how this plays out. I think it's just negotiation. And I think when the dust settles, I think he's going to be a Los Angeles Ram, and I think they're still going to have their quarterback, and they'll still be competitive because of all those reasons. Okay, that's the NFL stuff I want to get into real quick. I just wanted to put that in there. Let's take a look here. Let's see if we got some. Let's see if we got some Ask Sleaze here. All right, let's see what we got here. Okay. Let's start here with an SLI. By the way, episode number 100, my people. Thank you for being a part of it. Here's an SLI. Best sandwich. Okay, I'm going to. It's not like my go-to sandwich. And I want to make sure that I got all the details of the sandwich. It's not my go-to sandwich because you probably can't have one of these every single day. Have you guys been, back when I was at 710, one of our partners was Langer's. Langer's is known for their number 19, which is their pastrami sandwich. Again, it's not your everyday. I'm not telling you that that's what you're going to eat every single day. But my God, is that not one of the best sandwiches out there? On the rye, you got the pastrami that kind of melts into the bread a little bit. You got that coleslaw that they use. It's like the perfect combination. Definitely don't have that thing every day. But how good are those delis that have that old traditional like this pastrami sandwich? I don't think you could ever go wrong. I wasn't the biggest fan of them, but now kind of more and more. Just a good classic Italian sub. Again, this is you not giving a flying F about what you're eating. You're just saying, hey, I'm just going to go out and have a good meal. Yeah, those are pretty damn good sandwiches. The Italian sub for me, I got to have pepperoncinis in there as well. Give it a little bit of a heat to it. All right, let's see what else we got here. Slee, apples or oranges? Apples my everyday, oranges better. I like oranges better, but apples are like my go-to. I got apples all the time. Do you still ball out in Echo Park? Guys, I gotta be honest with you, man. I kind of sucks. I don't play any basketball anymore. Nothing. So yeah, unfortunately, I got nothing when it comes to in regards to basketball. I shoot around every once in a while. Still 80% from the free. If you got a jumper, you got a jumper. Slee, I love my Kobe stories. Do you have a personal Kobe story? Okay, I've told this story before, but I'll tell it again because I don't know. There's probably a lot of people maybe that haven't heard the story. By the way, I've done such a terrible job with Instagram and not reading some of theirs. So Instagram, if you got some comments, thoughts, ask Sleaze, I'll get to you as well. My apologies. I don't do a good job here. Okay, I got one Kobe story that I'll share with everybody here real quick. When I was still working down in San Diego, I was working for a radio station called the Mighty 1090. And we had the Padres radio broadcast. And Lakers, after the year they lost, the year that Shaq got traded to the Miami Heat, it was a very odd offseason. Let's put it that way. And Lakers were doing training camp down at USD, University of San Diego, down in San Diego, right off the 8 and the 5 where they meet. That's where USD campus is. And they were doing it out there. And I'm like, well, this is odd. Lakers are doing training camp from there. So I told one of our program directors at the time, I'm like, hey, and by the way, I'm not even on air or anything. I'm completely 100% doing sales. But I told him, like, listen, everybody knows I'm obviously a huge Laker fan. I'm like, we don't have anybody covering Lakers training camp. Let me go cover it. He's like, all right, go cover Lakers training camp. So they get me a credential. I end up going down there. When I tell you I have absolutely no idea what I'm doing, I have no idea what the hell I'm doing. I've never been to a Laker practice. I don't know how this works. I don't know how the public relations works. I don't know how the media scrum works. I don't know how any of this works. You can imagine the Lakers franchise, the year they trade Shaq. A lot of people were angry at Kobe. A lot of people were angry at Dr. Jerry Buss and saying, you traded the wrong person. By the way, I thought the same thing. I'm like, you got a better chance of winning a championship with Shaq than you do of Kobe. That's why Dr. Jerry Buss is the best at what he does. Back in the days, the late, great Dr. Jerry Buss. So I walk into Lakers practice and they let us in. And there is a huge media scrum that is waiting to come in as well. And by the time they let us in, they're just finishing practice. And I look over to my right, and probably about 30 yards from me is Kobe. And Kobe is just sitting by himself And, you could tell it was a tough practice, a hard practice. He's sweating profusely. Training camp has started. So I look and I'm like, oh, well, I'm in. So why don't I just go talk to Kobe, right? That's what you do. You're an idiot that has no idea what's going on. You have no idea what the proper way of doing this is. I'm like, I'm just going to go get a couple of sound bites of Kobe. So I start walking towards Kobe. All the reporters and everybody else, they're going to their left, which is where public relations is eventually going to bring players, and they'll all kind of get a chance to ask questions there. Instead of me going left, I'm like, well, I'm just going to go to Kobe. I don't know where they're going. So I just start walking towards Kobe. And once I start going towards the direction of Kobe, Kobe is looking at me. And Kobe is giving me this look like, what the F are you doing? And I know you're not coming to talk to me. And I'm giving Kobe a look of, I think I'm coming to talk to you, but I'm not really sure what the hell I'm doing. I'm already pot committed, so I'm already walking towards him. Once I get up to Kobe, he's giving me this look, like a really, really a look of like, you should not be here. And I look at Kobe and I'm like, Kobe, hey, work for a local sports radio station here, the Mighty 1090. Just want to see if I can get a couple clips, couple sound bites. And he says, or I said, if you don't mind, I would love to get a couple sound bites. And he says, no. And I stopped for a second and I said, no, as in you don't mind, or no on the sound bites? And he's like, no, as in no. I'm like, okay, thank you for your time. Greatly appreciate it. And then I just walked in a complete direction. What's actually funny and ironic, I walked in the direction. That was the year the Lakers drafted Sasha. Sasha was sitting in a corner, had no idea what the hell was going on as well. So I got to talk to Sasha. There's my Kobe story. My Kobe story is, as a dipshit, I walked up to Kobe Bryant like I knew what the hell I was doing. And let's just say Kobe checked me. Let's just say Kobe checked me. Yeah. Yeah. It didn't happen. Didn't happen. Didn't get the Kobe soundbite that I thought I was getting. The look he gave me, guys. The look he gave me. All right, let's see what we got here. Chrissy, when you like a sample at Costco, do you pretend you're a different person when you go back for seconds? Okay, quick Costco for me. I don't really do samples as much anymore. But can I tell you, when I was a kid and my dad used to take us to Costco, or he'd take me to Costco, oh my God, I was like, it's like I was robbing a bank. If there was sausage or something along those lines, something that was a little bit more hearty, savory, and you told me there's samples of that, I was coming in with disguises on. I'm like, yeah, I got to get one. First I'd get one for myself, and then I'm like, hey, my dad, my sister, they're in line right now. Can I get a couple? I was walking out of there with a full meal. All right, let's get on here. Ashley, what is the most used app on your phone? Pretty easy. YouTube. I use YouTube all the time. I consume a lot of content on YouTube. Honestly, I think part of the reason why I also am so comfortable with being on YouTube and wanting to kind of build this channel out is because I've seen so many other independents do the same thing. And I'm talking about independents in the news space, independents that are, not just sports related, sports as well, but YouTube, no question about it. Twitter sometimes, but a lot of times I try to just take Twitter off my phone just because it's too addicting. So a little bit of that. That's how Kobe always looked. People laughing at my Kobe. Oh, Kobe. Oh, I've never been so intimidated in my life. Blocked by Bryant. Kobe, I don't know what to tell you guys. I think there was a part of Kobe that was also like, he's like, this guy, impossible he's coming up to me. Impossible this dipshit is coming up to me. And I'm like, Kobe, I'm sorry, man. I'm walking towards you. I don't know what I'm doing, Kobe. It's probably 25 at the time, something like that. There was something here. Who's been to Howland Rays? I've been there. One time Travis and I convinced Trav when I was doing the Travis and Sliwa show that we should get the spiciest sandwich and eat it on the air. And we did that. I'm not kidding when I tell you this. Let me actually what's in the hottest sandwich at Howland. I want to read this to you because the fact that I convinced Travis to do this on the air was just a accomplishment in itself. Him and I both ate the hottest sandwich, and we ate it on air. And here's what's inside the hottest sandwich at Howland Ray's. Okay, delicious, by the way. It includes the world's hottest peppers, Carolina Reaper, scorpion peppers, dried other peppers that they have that's on there. I mean, you can't. I believe. I'm sure you can get hotter. I'm sure you can get hotter. Yeah, I struggled. I'm not kidding. For 2 days. 2 days, my stomach was jacked up. So I've been to Howland Race. Here's some more people on the Kobe. Who the F is this guy? I'm with you. Peter says, but you talked to him. Yep, I talked to him. I got 3 no's from Kobe. No. Yeah, I did. Kobe, you mind if I grab a couple sound bites? No. So that was one word I got from Kobe. And then I got the follow-up of no as in no or no as in no problem. No as in no. So I got 3 no's, 4 words from Kobe. 3 of them were no's. All right, let's see what else we got here. Slee, remember when you interrupted Markieff Morris? I remember that. Yep, I do. And then I remember the next day telling Markieff, hey, my bad, brother. I interrupted you. He's like, man, what are you talking about? You're good. You're good. All right, let's see what we got here. Oh, my God, Price Club. How funny is that? Some of these comments on here. All right, let's see what else we have here. Get a couple more in here. Call it a day. Slee, you're a legend when you live through the code. Man, that stare that I got from him. Oh, that stare. That was a little, that was scary. Howland Rays is hella spicy. I'm good enough with their mild and medium spice. Yeah, I don't need to do that again. Let's just put it that way. I definitely don't need to do that again. All right, let's take a look here. A couple more we can call it a day. Slee, check my last super. All right, what do we got here? Slee, please give live reaction to the Locked On Nuggets clip. Don's pushing. Okay. All right, I'll go back and look. If somebody doesn't mind and they want to put a link to it, that would be helpful. But I'll go back and look at it. Okay, last thing I'm going to get to here real quick, and then we're going to call it a day. And I appreciate you guys hanging out. 100 episodes. It's kind of cool to reach this milestone, I guess you could call it. But it really is just the beginning. So, just kind of as simple to put it, it really is just the beginning of the channel. And I got a long way to go with where I want to get this channel to. But I love that there is a community here. I love that I can do a show at 8 a.m., not just after Laker games, and still have an audience here and still have a good conversation and everything else. So I appreciate you guys being a part of the channel, and I appreciate you guys hanging around for the first 100 episodes. So thank you very much for being a part of the show. Thank you very much for subscribing to the channel, supporting the channel, being a member, however it is that you're on here. I really appreciate you guys being here and hanging out with me. All right, my people. Hope you guys have a great day, great rest of your day. I'll be back on tomorrow at 8 a.m. A quick heads up here. Looks like I'm going to have Alan Horton on tomorrow. He covers the Minnesota Timberwolves, and he does the radio play-by-play for the Minnesota Timberwolves. He's going to help us preview that game. So that's going to be a fun game to be a part of tomorrow with Anthony Edwards. And then coming off, do they play tonight? I don't know if they play tonight. Are they going to be coming off a back-to-back, or is Minnesota just chilling? I'm just going to look here real quick. I think this is more for my own curiosity. Let me just see here. Minnesota. Yeah, they came back and won that big game against the Thunder in overtime. They're feeling good about themselves, and their next game isn't until tomorrow. So they're going to get a few days off before they play the Lakers. That should be a fun one tomorrow. All right, my people, thank you very much for being here. I appreciate you guys hanging out. I appreciate you guys being a part of the show, and I will see you guys tomorrow, 8 a.m. Thank you, everybody. Have a great